Welcome back to 128KB, it's Andy here, and yes, we have been sent 2 prototypes of the new Steam Deck. I've got them right here. So they're slightly different from the ones you see around. Oh, hang on a sec. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, if you know me, then you know I love handheld gaming, and the Steam Deck is actually something I wasn't expecting to see in 2021, especially from Valve. Bearing in mind that Valve have sort of been in the hardware side of things before, but not with handheld consoles. And did their hardware do very well? Well, unfortunately not. So my initial impressions here were, I don't know what to think about this. However, now a little bit of time's gone on and Valve have even reinvigorated their YouTube channel with the first video in nearly a year because of the Steam Deck. I am sort of getting a little bit of hype here now after seeing some first impressions, different people sort of getting hands-on with the device, and the fact that there's 3 separate versions. So I'm not going to be going over all of the specifications in this video because you've probably seen it everywhere else, but it is a high-powered device and it looks like it's going to be more than capable of running some really good games, especially next year, let's say, because realistically they're not shipping this year until sort of December for the first run. So you've got 3 versions, which is the 64GB version, which is around the sort of £350 mark. Then you've got the 256GB version, which actually goes up to an NVMe drive, so it's a lot faster storage, and that's pretty much the same as the base model but just with faster storage. I think you get a carry case, things like that, and that's around the sort of 460 in the UK here, £460-ish. And then you've got the sort of the best model, which is kind of like the end goal. You want to go for this one if you can, which is the 512GB one. And it also has a special sort of anti-glare reflecting screen, which is really nice. So you get that faster storage, you get 512GB, you get the better screen, you get a bunch of other stuff like a case and like a special thing, like a special virtual keyboard, like overlay, that kind of thing. But that one is going up to £570. So bear in mind, that's actually £120 more expensive than a fully fledged PlayStation 5. So, you know, I know PlayStation 5s, you cannot find them anywhere, but it is a lot of money. I mean, you could almost get a PS5 and a Nintendo Switch Lite for the price of the best Steam Deck. But we're not going down that route, we're just going down the Steam Deck route here. So you've got a bunch of different control options, which I really like. The first time I saw it, I thought, that button placement looks a little bit weird, but it is a big chunky handheld here we're talking about. You know, it is pretty much almost like a desktop replacement laptop, if you've seen those. So the gaming laptops that are just too big, you pretty much just sit them on your desk and that's where it stays. That's kind of the aim of this. This is not a portable device really, because it's big. You know, you're talking like Atari Lynx kind of big, bigger than even the Game Gear that we just showed at the beginning of the video. So this is something that you're going to sit down probably at home and not so much on the bus, maybe on the train, that kind of thing, or a plane. Yeah, great, but maybe not sort of taken around sat at the bus stop with, you know, because it's a bit big. So the controls wise, you do have a D-pad. You've got your sort of 4 buttons in the top right. Then you've got 2 analog sticks, which are touch sensitive. So it knows when you've got them, you know, your thumbs on them, and they look really nice. They're fully sized sort of control sticks there. You've got the 2 sort of almost like the Steam controller, like touch sensitive pads underneath. And then it also has gyro as well. So, you know, it's got a few little things that maybe they got influenced by the Nintendo sort of side of things, possibly. But I really like the fact that you've got so many different controls because this is a PC. So it's not going to be like the Switch where, you know, the games are specifically designed for it only to sort of incorporate those things. This is actually going to be, you log in and then you have your entire Steam library in your hands. Now bear in mind, you've got all sorts of games on Steam. You've got like card games, you've got racing games, you've got fully fledged RPGs. There's so many different games and they need different control types. Some are sort of mouse and keyboard only, others are, you know, controller only, that kind of thing, or controller supported. So you really do need those track pads, the touch sensitive pads, to use as sort of a mouse or a keyboard kind of style thing. But bear in mind, On the top, there is a USB-C, and this means that you can actually plug in like a mouse and keyboard if you really wanted to. So there is that option. I mean, personally, I wouldn't be messing around with all that, but you know, it is a choice. If you really wanted to use a mouse and a keyboard on it, then it is a possibility. Now, there is a dock for it as well, so that you can dock it just like the Switch onto your television or monitor. You know, if you've got a gaming monitor like these, then you could use that as well. However, the dock is a separate purchase, and also it doesn't provide any extra power like the Nintendo Switch does. So the Switch actually has, you know, a chip in there that helps it get up to 1080p for the big screen. The Steam Deck, what you see in your hands is what you see on the telly, essentially. So the power there does not get boosted by the dock. It is literally just a dock that gives you some extra USB ports. I think it gives you an Ethernet port, an RJ45 port, and possibly another USB-C. I might just be making that up. But you know, there is that extra dock. I don't think they've announced the price as of yet, but there is that thing where you can just dock it onto your telly and play that way. So I really like the fact that they've kind of included you anywhere, because what I love about the Switch is if I'm going on holiday or going camping, or I don't know, let's say going to like a cabin. Christina and I actually went to a cabin on her birthday a couple of years ago now, and we took our Switches and I managed to dock mine onto the telly because I brought the dock with me, and it was just so nice to have that option. So having the option of the dock is actually really nice. So first impressions are, it's big. So, you know, it could be a downside for some. I don't see it as a downside. This is aimed at PC gamers. Now, we haven't really had an accessible and almost affordable way of playing our games out on the go, unless you've got a gaming laptop, which is big, clunky, you need a power adapter and all that kind of stuff. So this does have an internal battery. However, the battery life will not compete with the Switch, because the Switch, you know, can get quite a lot of hours. The Steam Deck, depending on the kind of game you're going to be running, you know, you're going to be draining that battery quick if you're playing a AAA game. So, you know, like I said, you're probably going to be sat at home playing this, unless you know you're going to be on the train for maybe 2 or 3 hours. That's probably where you're going to sort of get to, maybe 2 hours, I'm thinking, because it is a powerful device. However, I'm hoping that you can sort of pull down the graphics and stuff like that, which will save some power if you were really trying to eke it out. So you do have those 3 models, and you do have that dock as well. Now, bearing in mind, you can actually link a controller to this. So it does have Bluetooth 5, and it does support controller input. So you could essentially get an Xbox controller or a Switch controller or a PlayStation controller and sort of Bluetooth it to that. So you could prop the Steam Deck up and sort of play like that with a controller, which is quite nice. It doesn't have a stand, so you would need to sort of just like jank it up until it sort of like sits up if you are going to play it portably with a controller. So that is something to consider. However, you can get like phone stands and stuff like that, which aren't a big deal. But overall, first impressions, I'm really excited, because as much as I'm a big Nintendo fan and a handheld lover in general of all sorts of different companies, I'm really excited as a PC gamer, because I've been a PC gamer pretty much forever now, and I love playing PC games. I'm just so excited that I can finally play my infinite library of Steam games that I've bought and never played on the go. So this might actually encourage me to play some of those games, because we're all guilty for it, right? Steam sale, yep, buy. You buy all these games at like pennies or 50p or a few quid or something like that. Do you ever open them? Do you play them? Probably not. If you're like me, I've got probably 300 games on my Steam list, and I've probably played about 20 of them. So I am excited to be able to jump in and out wherever I want to get one of those. However, I won't be buying one straight up. Now, if you want to see why I'm not going to be buying one and why we might recommend that you don't yet, then stick around, make sure you go down there, smash that like and subscribe button to see more videos on the Steam Deck and why we recommend that you maybe wait before pre-ordering one, and also which model we think you should get and which one we think is just totally pointless. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. Make sure you go over to 128KB for all sorts of other stuff, because there's so much stuff on there, including, you know, news, gameplay, there's just all sorts of stuff. So go head over to www.128kb.co.uk. I'm Andy, this is 128KB. See you in the next one.